Now keep in mind, I start from the belief that government cannot and should not try to solve every single problem that we've got. Government's not the answer to everything. My first job in Chicago, when I wasn't much older than most of you, was working with a group of Catholic churches on the south side of Chicago in low-income neighborhoods to try to figure out how could we improve the schools and how could we strengthen neighborhoods and strengthen families. And I saw that the work that some of these churches did more good for people in their communities than any government program could. In those same communities, I saw that no education policy, no matter how well crafted it is, no matter how well funded it is, can take the place of a parent's love and attention. And I also believe that since government is funded by you, that it has an obligation to be efficient and effective. And that's why we've eliminated dozens of programs that weren't working, announced hundreds of regulatory reforms to save businesses and taxpayers billions of dollars. We've put annual domestic spending on a path to become the smallest share of our economy since Eisenhower was in the White House, which is before I was born, much less you being born. I believe the free market is the greatest force for economic progress in human history. But here's the thing. I also agree with our first Republican president, a guy from my home state, a guy with a beard named Abraham Lincoln. And what Lincoln said was that through our government, we should do together what we cannot do as well for ourselves. That's the definition of a smart government. And that's the reason why we have a strong military, to keep us safe, because I suppose each of us could just, grab whatever's around the house and try to defend our country, but we do better when we do it together. And we've got the best military in the history of the world, with the greatest men and women in uniform. We pay for that. That's why we have public schools to educate our children. If we didn't have public schools, there would still be some families who would do very well. They could afford private schools, or some would homeschool, but there'd be a lot of kids who would fall through the cracks. So we do that together. It's one of the reasons that we've laid down railroads and highways. We can't build a highway for ourselves. We got to get our neighbors and our friends to say, let's go build a road. That's why we supported the research and the technology that saved lives and created entire industries. The internet, GPS, all those things were created by us together, not by ourselves. It's the reason why we contribute to programs like Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and unemployment insurance. Because we understand that no matter how responsibly we live our lives, we know that eventually, we're going to get older. We know that at any point, one of us might face hard times or bad luck or a crippling illness or a layoff. And the idea that together we build this safety net, this base of support, that allows all of us to take risks and to try new things and maybe get a new job because we know that there's this base that we can rely on. So these investments in things like education and research and healthcare, they haven't been made as some grand scheme to redistribute wealth from one group to another. This is not some socialist dream. They have been made by Democrats and Republicans for generations because they benefit all of us and they lead to strong and durable economic growth. That's why we've made these investments.